I graduated summa cum laude, and honestly, it didn't take sleepless nights or insane study routines. I just did what most people don't do. I showed up, I did the work, and I put enough effort in to at least do the work decently well. So in this video, I want to kind of elaborate on what went into my mindset when I was going through school that helped enable me to achieve the title of summa cum laude. But first, I do want to preface that this video isn't meant for me to just brag. It's meant to honestly offer a platform in order to share the real truth of the matter, which is that most people do not put in even the bare minimum when it comes to schooling, but a lot of things in life. But in this video, obviously, we're going to talk about schooling, and most people don't put in the bare minimum. And so this video is meant to encourage you that if you simply put in the bare minimum, you will be far out ahead of most people and separate yourself from the pack. And that's just the honest truth. And so allow me to elaborate more in this video. But first, if you're new here, hello, my name is Cooper, and I'm a recent college graduate documenting my journey as well as giving advice to you all here on this YouTube channel. So if that is something you are interested in, feel free to stick around. All right, let's hop into it. So the first thing I do want to cover is, again, the truth that most people don't even try. Most people don't even put the bare minimum. The bar is way lower than you think. And so most students, they procrastinate, they skip readings, or don't even show up to lecture, right? Simply, one of the things I learned, the biggest takeaway, again, is that if you just put in the bare minimum, which means simply doing what is assigned and doing it on time, already puts you far ahead. When the honest truth is that half of succeeding in school is frankly just showing up and just turning things in. And this is backed by surveys, because according to surveys, only around 39% of college students report consistently attending all their classes. And so if you're someone who's in school, especially someone who's in college, because this is a lot more apparent in college where classes are a lot of times like optional. You get into the rooms of, a couple hundred students, right? And so, those professors don't really track attendance, and also you don't really have your parents, saying, oh, you better be going on the school bus, right? Going to school. And so it's a lot more apparent in college, but like if you're someone who is in college, you probably have noticed that over the course of a semester, attendance just drops so that by the time you get to the end of the semester, it's most of the time half or less, of the students who are still showing up to those in-person classes than who showed up at the very beginning of the semester. So that's just further, proof that most students don't even put the time in and the effort to just show up. And so by doing that, you're already setting yourself ahead. And so this kind of leads me to my next point, which is that continue to hold yourself to a decent standard, right? You don't need to be perfect, just better than average, right? You can still care about the quality of your work while not obsessing over it. Having pride in your work, but also knowing when good enough is actually good enough. Because most people cut corners because they think, that nobody cares. And that's exactly why standing out is so easy. Because again, speaking personally, one trait that I really embodied throughout my school career, and also just how I live my life and how I do just general work, is I embody the idea of efficiency. Like, what is efficiency? Efficiency to me means I'm going to put in the minimum required work/effort in order to achieve this maximal result. And I think that is what differentiates it from laziness. Being efficient isn't necessarily being lazy, because I think where laziness comes into play and how that separates from efficiency is that you flip that equation on its head. You don't care about maximizing the results. You only care about sometimes not even getting to the bare minimum of quality just for the sake of putting in less effort. And so it's saying that laziness is saying I'm willing to sacrifice quality if it means I have to put in less effort. Whereas efficiency says how can I find a way to continue to achieve maximum results, but also while putting in less effort. So it's working smarter, not harder, which is way different from laziness. And so that's what I'm encouraging you to do. It's not me saying that you need to be lazy about your schooling. It's still hold yourself to a decent standard, but the name of the game is efficiency. And so the point is that all you have to worry about is being efficient. You don't have to necessarily obsess and spend hours upon hours. When frankly, also another key point is that individuals are different, right? For me, I found that I didn't have to spend numerous hours on material, memorizing it, learning it, and whatnot, because I found that I grasped things fairly quickly. I practiced learning the ability to comprehend material, and kind of apply it to various subjects as the semesters and the years go on, rather than just memorizing it just for the sake of the test and regurgitating it. Because that's gonna be the more important thing, is that, like, are you truly learning so that you save yourself time in the long run, or are you just worried about cramming, memorizing, spending hours memorizing it, and then once the test is over, you throw it out the door, and then come the next test where, you have to actually remember that other material you had. Now you have to go redo all those hours that you spent studying just to memorize it, when if you just learned it for real, you would save yourself a whole bunch of time, which again, efficiency. So that's kind of the next thing I encourage you to do. The next mindset that I kind of adopted was a competitive one. I viewed school as just a medium of competition with my peers, because to be blunt and true, a healthy sense of competition truly does push you forward, right? And you don't need to compete with everyone. You don't need to just go around saying, I have to be better than everyone. Even just having an internal competition with yourself, being like, I care about being at least better than my past self. That my past self, I earned these grades. I had 1A, 2 B's, 3 C's, and so this semester I'm not going to get a single C, right? All A's and B's. That is a form of internal competition. You're competing with your past self. Whether you do that, or you take it a step further like I did, where I purposely tried to do better than everybody else. Either way, embracing the drive and the motivator of competition is another thing that can help propel you to success in your schoolwork. And just to back up that point with some more research, there's research that shows that moderate competition increases your motivation and performance up to 25%, before you take it too far, and where stress starts to outweigh the benefit. But that's, again, where if you combine the competition with the efficiency, that's really the best recipe for success. And then kind of lastly is just talking about the discipline, and the motivational aspect. You can't rely on being inspired necessarily every day, right? Like anything, you kind of have to know your why. You don't have to love school. You still have to do it anyway, especially if you're in high school. It's required, right? So it's something that you're going to show up every day doing. And so do you care enough? If it's something that you're forced to do anyway, why not make it good? Why show up to something and just purposely let it not be good? Why put your name on something like that? Really reflect, because I know people out there who seriously think that they just do not care. They just don't care at all what how they do in school. And to me, it's baffling. And so I just encourage, because it's a true question from me to you, but also I encourage those people to reflect and be like, well, why? Why would you want to put your name on anything that you wouldn't be proud to show off? Do you think that school is not ever something to be proud of, or something to maybe show off, or that because you didn't do good that no one's gonna look, right? So it's a serious, thing out there. There's just so many people out there, sadly, like have that kind of mindset. And so, I encourage you. I know the people who are watching, if you're watching to this point, like it's not you, because obviously you had enough motivation to watch the video. Like you obviously care about your schooling, whether that's like internally or externally, right? You either said, oh, I really want to learn like for myself, or you had the external motivation from your mom, being like, if you don't get your grades up, you're going to be grounded. So now you're tuning into this video, right? But either or, like you have the motivation, to be, to actually want success in your schooling, which is good. And so we can work with that. So last thing, just kind of wrapping up here. Like the real lesson of all this is that for me, graduating summa cum laude didn't make me necessarily like feel smart. Like it I wasn't doing it just to show off how smart I was. It was more not being able to accept, not living up to my full potential. Right? Because success, isn't about necessarily being extraordinary for extraordinary's sake. It's about caring enough just to do like the ordinary things. Because so many people out there, the truth is that people nowadays, they settle for less than they're capable of. And that's what I don't want for you. And that's what I don't want for myself. And that is literally the bare minimum that allowed me to put in the work necessary to what I felt due was the bare minimum. Like I showed up, I did the work, and I cared enough to do the work well. Those three things, like they sound simple enough, yet they propelled me to summa cum laude status. I don't know, man. So that's what I did. Moral of the story, like this video is just to be like a super honest, raw, authentic take on schooling. I'm not going to give you like 20 studies tip that will guarantee you all A's, right? If you want that video, like you can request it, right? But the point of this video is to just frankly give my honest take on school and my honest take and truth on how doing well in school is not that hard. It's truly not that hard. It's pretty easy if you're attending like the average school in America. If you're going to like Harvard, if those are your plans to go to like an Ivy League school, that's different. I haven't done that, so like I wouldn't be the proper person to ask. These tips would still apply. But for the average person going to the average school, to the average college, to the average university, to the average whatever, right? These tips will apply. So with that, that's all I had for this video. If you found any value from it, feel free to stick around on my channel where I post new videos every Tuesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And with that, I will see you guys on the next one. Godspeed.